Hey, everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground. Signal without the slop. I'm your host, Phil. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Let's take a look at the stories we are going to cover this morning. So, first off, in the Hopium, we're going to take a look at some Japan news. We've got some bullish comments about some $3 million Bitcoin. And what else do we got? Oh, China, right? China, the rising world power. There's some comments showing that they plan on making a big purchase. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, we're also going to take a look at Endless Paper Bitcoin. That's right. The rebrand is official. No more Paper Bitcoin Summer. It is just now Endless Paper Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at a new hopeful there. Coinbase shenanigans. That's right. They don't end. No one's surprised, but we're going to make fun of it anyways. 50-year mortgage. That's not as good as we think it is. That is pretty awful. The 50-year mortgage, whoever's cheering for that, you might not understand what stage in the empire clock we're at, but this is not a good thing. And of course, we've got more strategic Bitcoin reserve news that we are supposed to cheer for. But yeah, as you guys know, in this channel, we give the signal, right? We don't just give you this, this fluffy hopium slop that makes you think that, we're just going to the moon tomorrow. So yeah, we're going to examine that. You guys know the deal. Before we do that, hey, wait, what is it? 6:11 p.m. in Italy. Damn it. Well, I'm sorry. It's morning here. So happy evening, Sandman. Anyways, before we dive into all these stories, you guys know the deal. We're going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor. We are going to be right back to dive into all these stories. Let's freaking go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. Okay, let's jump right into it here. Japanese government, right? So there's 11 governments sponsoring Bitcoin mining, and yeah, it looks like Japan is the new entrant to the race. And you can see right here, right, this particular chart that's been tracking since 2020. And I still remember when the Bhutan news came out. It's kind of funny, the Iran news. I remember when that came out. That was much less emphasized than Bhutan. But Bitcoin mining is mining. Should make a difference who it is, right? And you could see all of a sudden in 2021, added El Salvador, then the UAE, then Oman, and it just kept going and going. And guys, I mean, look, this is part of the quote unquote hyper Bitcoinization. I feel like we haven't even talked about hyper Bitcoinization. This it seems like this cycle there's been a lot less talk about that and a whole lot more focus on these Bitcoin treasury companies and governments setting up strategic reserves. Yeah, anyways. So Japan's mining activities were announced recently and are structured as a collaboration with state-owned utility company Canaan, which we talked about last week, right? The project will act as a load balancer where mining operations are stopped when power demand is high and resumed when demand is low. That's right, because for the people who don't know how it works, essentially that electricity that is produced, if it's not actually being used, it just disappears. That's it, it's gone. So it's got to be used. And Bitcoin mining is obviously turning out to be the most efficient use of that energy that is wasted. So it's fantastic. Anyways, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right, let's dive right into the. We're going to dive into some positive comments here from who? Let's go with you know what? Let's just maybe we'll rip off the Band-Aid and we'll do some Tommy Lee video. Okay, so here we go. Tommy Lee's bullish comments. Let's do it. I just enjoy this. I find him to be very entertaining. I don't know. Has he actually been right once? Who knows?
Percent of all Bitcoin's been mined, but 95% of the world doesn't own Bitcoin. So I just think that there's still a huge demand versus supply imbalance, meaning there's a lot more potential buyers of Bitcoin over the next 10 years. And So I think there's a lot of upside into year end.
Yeah.
Into your like 150 target.
Yeah, 150,
150,000.
maybe 200, even 250 this year.
What?
Ooh.
150 to 200 to even 250. And what's you don't have a terminal price on that, do you?
Well, it's I think at a minimum it should have the same network value as gold. And if you look at above ground gold, it's probably 23 trillion. So that would be, 1.2 million for Bitcoin. But I think Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. So, gold, Bitcoin could be 2 million, 3 million long term. Even higher.
All right, there we go. $3 million. Send it. Send me the $3 million. Why not? Why not? Okay. Anyways, good solid comments there out of Tom Lee. What else though? We've got a whole lot more though, guys. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Anyways, okay. Look at this. 99.5% of spot Bitcoin ETF investors held through the 20% drawdown. Why are the ETF buyers seeming more like the hodlers than the hodlers who are crying that this cycle is over? I saw people, was it last week? Right? Last week, people were freaking out. That's it. The cycle's over. And you could see the cope, right? There's all kinds of cope. The whole energy just shifted. Guys are embarrassing. Like, if you've been here for more than one cycle, what is this behavior? Right? I'm seeing guys that have been here for like 10 years. They're freaking crying about a 20% downturn. Maybe you didn't hodl enough. Just maybe. You did not hodl enough. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, let's hear some really bullish comments here out of, I believe his name is David. Is it David Morehead, the CEO? Right? Sorry, Dan Morehead, CEO of Pantera Cap. He must have gotten teased a whole lot as a kid with that last name. Anyways, I digress. Let's hear what Dan had to say.
I think it's pretty obvious that the countries that are adversaries of the U.S. will ultimately buy Bitcoin and potentially other coins, but I would say at least start with Bitcoin. And so I think there's going to be an arms race, right? And there'll be like Dr. Strangelove, strategic mineshaft gap, right? Like, it's going to be a real race. And as you know, there's only 21 million.
Yeah,
and
we
if
know.
A bunch of people all want to buy 1 million each. So
They
they have
can't.
to go around, right? And there again, that's why I'm so bullish, because there's just not enough Bitcoins to satisfy countries' desires. I think the U.S. has 200,000 Bitcoins just, from confiscations, kind of a random.
And China has roughly the same, I think.
Yeah, and China has roughly the same. No.
I'll tell you what kind of discredits this for me is the fact that he's talking to Rug Pal. Yeah, for the people that are new to this space and you don't know who Raoul Pal is, you should definitely look into it. I believe he's like an ex-TradFi guy from Goldman Sachs or one of those companies. Anyways, he has had an absolutely abhorrent track record in this space. He shilled BlockFi, he shilled Luna, he just said absolutely ridiculous things that got so many people wrecked. And for the people who don't know, 2 cycles ago, he was he was one of those shitcoiners that converted to a Bitcoin bull, right? He was all about Bitcoin, and then as soon as the cycle kicked off, he started to shitcoin. So, and again, right? Like it's just so that we have some perspective. To me, it just kind of ruins it that it's Rug Pal talking to him. But either way, Pantera Cap, they know what they're doing. Let's keep going.
I have no problem seeing them wanting to buy 1 million Bitcoins. Yeah, it's still tiny compared to their balance sheets, budgets, all that stuff. And so if you have 2, 3, 4, like say the GC wants to buy 1 million, China wants to buy 1 million, maybe Russia wants to buy some, US, like it's going to squeeze up like a watermelon seed.
Okay. All right. There you go. China's going to be our catalyst, right? China's going to be our catalyst, even though they have extreme protectionist regulations. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm not sure if I buy that. I'm not sure if I buy that. But anyways, let's continue on. We've got so much more Hopium here. So, guys, the Hopium is this, okay? Last week, forget about last week. Last night, we closed above 103K. Okay, it was like 103 and something. Like we had to close above this magical number in order to make the line gods happy. And we did this. Okay, we closed above the 50-week moving average. And for the people who don't know what that means, it means we should be going higher. And I say should because nothing is guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed. Some people are just going to tell you, yeah, we're going straight higher. Like we are just going higher. Yeah, I obviously want to believe we're going higher, but I'm just going to stick with the, it's going to be cautious, right? We're going to be cautious. But anyways, I mean, this looks great. This looks great. We bounced right off of it. Good stuff. Good stuff, Bitcoin. Way to stay within the magical lines. Way to stay within the magical lines. Okay. Anyway, so stayed above the 50-week moving average. Stars are aligning. The U.S. government shutdown is going to is hopefully going to end soon, and the government can get back to printing at max capacity because it really has absolutely nothing else that it can do in its arsenal. Okay, let's go take a look at some endless paper Bitcoin. Let's do it here. So we've got this British public company that just bought their first 15.16 Bitcoin. Now, I went to go take a look at these guys. They obviously publicly traded, but it seems that they have no history. So this might be a brand new public company that is, accumulating Bitcoin. So we'll have to see what happens there. Okay, more news over the weekend, right? We heard that we might be getting a $2,000 stimmy check, which means by the time we get it, it's going to be worth 50 cents, but it doesn't matter. We're going to put it all into Bitcoin anyways. And if you did that with the last check in 2020 or 2021, you're laughing. And I did, by the way. Even though you don't see me laughing, I did do it, and it was great. 50-year mortgage, guys. This is not good. Okay, I know it may seem like, oh, okay, great, we're gonna get a break. This is not good. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about late stage capitalism and stuff like that, right? Try to blame, it's capitalism, it's socialism, it's this, it's that. Guys, this is simply put late stage empire behavior. That's all this is. It doesn't matter whether it's capitalism or some type of ism. Doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. Okay. It's just late stage empire behavior. And I mean, I've been saying this for a while, right? All of these stable coins and all of this stuff, this is just simply meant to kick the can down the road in order to maintain the US dollar's dominance. That's all. Now, I know you're thinking, Phil, what the does that have to do with the 50-year mortgage? That has everything to do with the 50-year mortgage. The 50-year mortgage is part of the can kicking. It's part of the late stage empire crumble. Okay? Sorry. Anyways, and I still see a lot of really interesting debates about housing, right? Like people sit there and they're like, oh yeah, you should be renting. You shouldn't own your home and this and that. You know what? Why don't you just stick to figuring out what's best for yourself, right? Instead of trying to give other people advice as to whether they should own their home or they should rent. I think there's going to be different strokes for different folks. I am a home owner. I believe in home ownership. I'm a Gen Xer. So for me, I had a particular experience that happened when I was growing up, and it taught me the importance of owning your home, or at least for me, the importance of owning my own home. And so for me, that was a priority. And I have to be honest, ever since I did it, I sleep better at night. I focused all of my efforts into paying off my house. That's what I did. Instead of just hanging on to the debt, which I understand. Yeah, the debt continues on and it gets cheaper and cheaper and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. That doesn't help me sleep better at night. What does help me sleep better at night is knowing that I don't have to come up with a payment every month for a fucking house. That's what helps me sleep better at night. Anyways, to each their own, right? It's just good to get all the different perspectives, but this is not good, guys. This is late. This is late crumbling empire stuff. And we should be concerned. We definitely should be concerned. But hey, right? Bread and circuses, and everybody goes over the edge cheering. Okay, let's continue on here. The Coinbase shenanigans. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Kind of a weird little video. So look, you may have been getting rug pulled by unknown people, but hear me out. What if you could be getting rug pulled by people that you think you know and that you trust? It's, to me, that's what the Coinbase ad is. Like, look, you've been getting rug pulled by all these KOLs that we don't sponsor, that we don't approve of. Well, now you're going to be able to get rug pulled by the KOLs, which is the key opinion leaders. It's amazing the way that you can make somebody sound important. But that's exactly what, to me, what Coinbase is doing, right? They're just like, hey, we're going to pull this rug pull in-house, okay? So that we can control it. And you'll see, it'll be a whole bunch of lessons learned and all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be some funny stuff. Okay, let's see the strategic Bitcoin reserve. We love strategic Bitcoin reserves, don't we? So Kazakhstan to launch the $1 billion crypto reserve fund using seized assets by 2026. Look at that. Another country, seized assets. So this is what we know. We know that there are countries mining Bitcoin, and we know that there are countries seizing Bitcoin. And we know that El Salvador, so far, to my knowledge, is the only country, maybe there's one other country that's buying Bitcoin. So very few countries are actually buying Bitcoin. It seems the majority of them are just stealing it from their citizens, and a growing number of states, nation states, are mining it. Hey, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just messing around with stuff, you know, like I've got a bunch of these. This one feels more fun. This background. Anyways, guys, I don't care about nation states accumulating Bitcoin. I rather you, me, right? Us individuals, we accumulate Bitcoin, right? If individuals in the government, right, they want to accumulate Bitcoin, I think that's a fantastic idea. But make no mistake, the nation states and all of this stuff accumulating Bitcoin, this is garbage. All that is can kicking for their own power and their own control and their own dominance. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's episode. Don't forget, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, got Sir Ulrich and Humble Bitcoiner and myself. We are going to be sitting down for the round table. Get ready. It's going to be a whole lot of drama. You know the deal at the round table. We talk about all kinds of ridiculousness and the drama that's going on in the Bitcoin space. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you all later this evening. Peace.